Good evening, Philippines. Good evening, world. Today is Thursday, January 14, 2021.
We are here to inform you the latest updates in the world.
I am Lloyd Pilata,
And I am Ira Eunice Pago.
bringing you the hottest and the latest news for this hour.
This is MK Education Live, current affairs and updates. And for the international news, second year of COVID-19 could be tougher, says WHO top emergencies official. Geneva, the second year of the COVID-19 pandemic may be tougher than the first given how the new coronavirus is spreading, especially in the northern hemisphere as more infectious variants circulate. The World Health Organization, WHO, said Wednesday, January 13. We are going into a second year of this. It could be tougher given transmission dynamics and some of the issues we are seeing. Mike Ryan, the WHO top emergencies official, said during an event on social media. The World Health toll is approaching 2 million people since the pandemic began, with 91.5 million people infected. The WHO, it is the latest epidemiological update issued overnight, said after 2 weeks of fewer cases being reported. About 5 million new cases were reported last week, the likely result of the letdown of defenses during the holiday season in which people and the virus came together. Certainly in the northern hemisphere, particularly Europe and the northern North America, we have seen the sort of perfect storm of the seasons. Coldness, people going inside, increased social mixing, and a combination of factors that is driving increased transmission in many countries, Ryan said. Amid growing fears of the most contagious coronavirus variant first detected in Britain, but now enriched worldwide, governments across Europe on Wednesday announced tighter, longer coronavirus restrictions. That includes home office requirements and store closures in Switzerland, and it extended Italian COVID-19 state of emergency, and the German efforts to further reduce contacts between people blamed for the failed efforts. So far, the coronavirus undergo control.
And for the international news, South Korean court upholds a 20-year prison term for ex-President Park Geun-hye. South Korea Supreme Court on Thursday, January 14 upheld a 20-year prison term for the former President Park Geun-hye over bribery and other crimes as it brought up a historic corruption case that marked a striking fall from grace for the country's first fatal leader and conservative icon. The ruling means Park, who was ousted from office and arrested in 2017, potentially serves a combined 22 years behind bars, followed a separate conviction for allegedly meddling in her party's candidate nominations ahead of parliamentary elections in 2016. The finalizing of her prison term also makes her eligible for a special presidential pardon, a looming possibility as the country's deeply split electorate approaches the presidential election in March next year. President Moon Jae-in, a liberal who won the presidential election following Park's removal, has yet to directly address the possibility of freeing his predecessor. But at least one prominent member of Moon's Democratic Party, Chairman Lee Nak-yoon, has raised the idea of pardoning Park and another imprisoned former president, Lee Myung-bak, who is serving a 17-year term over his own corruption charges, as a gesture for national unity. Park, 68, has described herself a victim of political revenge. She has refused to attend her trial since October 2017 and did not attend Thursday ruling.
Meanwhile, the national news, UK COVID-19 variant detected in PH. Manila, Philippines, the new more infectious variant of COVID-19 first reported in the United Kingdom has been detected in the Philippines. In a statement Wednesday, a Department of Health (DOH) said the Philippine Genome Center (PGC) reported the detection of the new variant, known as B11.7, after samples for Filipino who arrived from the United Arab Emirates, UAE, on January 7 yield positive genome sequencing results. The patient with the UK variant is a male resident of Quezon City who departed in Dubai on December 27 for business purposes and arrived in the Philippines last January 7 via Emirates flight number EK332. The patient was swabbed and quarantined in a hotel upon arrival. The positive test result was released the following day, and the patient was referred to a quarantine facility in Quezon City, while his samples were spent in PGC for whole genome sequencing. The DOH said his female partner accompanied the patient during his trip, but she tested negative for SARS-CoV-2 upon arrival. She is currently under strict quarantine and monitoring. The couple had no exposure to a confirmed case before their departure to Dubai, nor had any travel activities outside Quezon City, the DOH noted. It remains unclear where the said Filipino got infected with the UK variant. But in a separate statement, the Quezon City government said the patient and his companion tested negative before living in the Philippines and tested negative as well upon arrival in Dubai. Immediate contact tracing was done in a close coordination with the Quezon City government and initially identified contact asymptomatic and currently under strict home quarantine. The DOH has secured the flight manifest of the flight and a question contact tracing of other passengers is now underway. The DOH advises those who were abroad, Emirates flight number EK332, to get in touch with their barangay health workers. The Quezon City government said it is also waiting for the DOH to submit the list of the passengers who were on the same flight as the patient from Dubai to contact trace passengers who may be formed in the city.
And for the national news, FDA grants emergency use authorization for Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. The Congress Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, has granted an emergency use authorization for the COVID-19 vaccine from Pfizer, quote-unquote, after a thorough review of the currently available data by medical and regulatory experts. The FDA today is granting an emergency use authorization for Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. FDA Director General Eric Domingo said in a visual press briefing on Thursday. According to Domingo, the application from the American pharmaceutical firm satisfied the requirements for acquiring an EUA in the Philippines, quote-unquote, based on the totality of evidence available today, including data from adequate and well-known controlled trials. It is reasonable to believe that the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine may be effective to prevent, diagnose, or treat COVID-19. He noted. He added that the known and potential benefits of the vaccines from Pfizer when used to diagnose, prevent, treat COVID-19 outweigh the known and potential risks of the said vaccine as of date. Domingo, however, clarified that the granting of an EUA is not a marketing authorization or a certificate of product registration, hence it cannot be used to market the vaccine commercially.
And for the local news, Jobless crew of Gimaras wooden boats to get help. Jordan Gimaras economically displayed crew of wooden hulled boats grounded the Maritime Industry Authority, Marina, will get help from provincial government, Gimaras. On January 1st, Marina stopped operation of all wooden hulled boats servicing the Iloilo City Gimaras route, vice versa. Their certificate of public convenience already expired and the agency has no plan to renew them, citing its modernization program phasing out wooden boats due to safety concerns. But not all displaced boatmen may be able to avail themselves of livelihood assistance. Those who were able to secure employment with modernized motorboats won't. Some 100 boatmen were adversely affected by the Marina order. Data from provincial government showed Government Samuel Gumarin is currently discussing with the Provincial Economic Development Office what other assistance may be given to the boatmen. On January 6, Gumarin Also confirmed with officials of Department of Labor and Employment, Guimaras Field Office, Department of Trade and Industry, Provincial Social Welfare and Development Office, Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, and the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority. According to Gando, immediately after the boats grounding, the provincial government released the initial assistance to the boatmen, 10 kilos of rice subsidy to each them. Currently, only 10 vessels are servicing the Ilo City, Guimaras route. These are 6 fiberglass boats, 2 roll-over vessels, and 2 steel-hulled boats.
And for the local news, more mangroves planted at Iloilo River. Employees and agency personnel of SM Iloilo City planted the first batch of mangroves at riverbank near Esplanade 9 on January 13. Several batches of staff will be deployed in specific days to complete the target of 2,000 mangroves at the site. Mayor Jerry Trinas thanked partners for helping implement initiatives for environmental preservations. The activity was part of the massive mangrove planting activities of city government set to prosperous banks of Iloilo River, particularly along new sections of Esplanades. The mall, headed by SM Regional Operations Manager for Visayas, Libuon, responded to the call of collective efforts in conserving the waterway at the head of the city. Mangroves serve as sanctuary to fishes and home to other marine life.
And for the sports news, Bolts Black in the running of Once in a Career Award, winning the 2020 Philippine Basketball Association (PBA) season top rookie honors have crossed Aaron's Black's mind. We'll talk about it in a little bit. The Miracle Guard told Empire last Friday, "I'll be lying to you if I tell you the family don't want to winning the award." The 20-year-old guard turned heads in his first year for Morocco during the All-Filipino Conference at the Clark Freeport. Black chopped up averages of 6.6 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 1.7 steals and provided depth to goals. Sides the knocked off then defending champion San Miguel Beer during the quarterfinals. The pushed eventual winner Barangay Ginebra to 5 games in the Final Four. There are those who will say the Black, in fact, it is a front runner of the rookie plum after finishing the record in a statistical points race 17.3 behind Roosevelt's Adams, Terra Fernandez versatile forward 20.3, Adams and Deep, however, crushed of the elimination round. Really didn't cross my mind until we beat San Miguel. People then began telling I'm the running Black, said. But before that, I had no idea. I was just out of the helping out the team win games, which has been my mentality no matter what. If the awards come, then I'll be great, added Black, who showed sterling poise of rookie throughout the PBA's bubble tournament. Maharlika Philippine Basketball League will Mighty Sports, Black said. All of those things prepared for PBA. Black has joined the Barangay Ginebra's Arvin Tolentino, Alaska's Barley Ibonada, and Magnolia Ares Dinocio and the pool candidates.
And for the sports news, NX Skigger's hard work rewarded with MIP nomination. Raul Suyud may not have the most glaring stars among the most improved player or MIP nominees this past Philippine Basketball Association or the PBA season, but for NX coach Yang Gao, he deserves the nomination. He is not the type of player who is already talented upon entering the PBA. He really needed to work hard to become better, and we saw that he persevered. Gao said on Wednesday. While Junior Kenyanan remains the Road Warriors' main big man, Suyud held his own, averaging 10 points, highlighting a career high 27, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.1 assists per game last season as he became one of their key players in their late run to the playoffs. For someone whose stories ended interesting to tell, according to Gao, Suyud really rose to the occasion. Suyud first started for West Negros University early into his college career. Seeing his potentials, the University of the Philippines then secured Suyod's transfer, but the fact that the team had stale performance during his 2-year stint hurt his chances of getting drafted early, eventually ending up as a third-round pick in the 2014 PBA draft. Suyod slowly worked his way up, and now he has become an inside force for NMIX despite only a few observers noticing it last season. The MIP award will be handed out alongside some other special citations and the PBA's virtual special awards night on Sunday.
And for the health news, government pressed to rethink preference for Sinovac. Manila, Philippines calls are mounting to have government reconsider its obvious preference for the coronavirus vaccine of Sinovac Biotech despite being less effective and more costly. With one opposition senator urging the Department of Health (DOH) to cancel the purchase of 25 million doses of China-made COVID-19 shot. The vaccine is called Coronavac, but people always prefer it to the shorthand for manufacturer's name Sinovac. Senator Francis Pangilinan asked the country's COVID-19 managers and vaccination planners to reject Coronavac as an option in the government's multi-platform roll-out vaccine, citing the latest reports about an impressive efficacy rate. Sinovac was just over 50% efficacy and 6 times more expensive than AstraZeneca of the United Kingdom, in which, in contrast, shows 70% efficacy. Pangilinan said the most Twitter. Sinovac is more expensive with having almost 20% lower efficacy. Given the latest findings, we called DOH to cancel the purchase of Sinovac vaccines. Pangilinan added. As to elaborate, Pangilinan said did not used to make sense to choose the more expensive and less effective brand. By rejecting Sinovac and selecting AstraZeneca or another vaccine with higher efficacy rates, we will be able to vaccinate millions of better quality vaccines, Pangilinan told the Inquirer in a Fiverr message. Senator Panfilio Lacson also took in Twitter to complain about the government pronouncements that the only Sinovac shots would be available to the Filipinos from February until June, showing, he said, that the Chinese manufacturer was essentially the chosen one.
And for the health news, causes and treatments of aneurysm. An aneurysm is an enlargement of an artery caused by weakness in the arterial wall. Often there are no symptoms, but a ruptured aneurysm can lead to a fatal complications. An aneurysm refers to a weakening of an artery wall that creates a bulge or distension of the artery. Most aneurysms do not show symptoms and are not dangerous. However, at their most seminal stage, some can rupture, leading to life-threatening internal bleeding. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) advise that aortic aneurysms contribute to over 25,000 deaths in the United States, US this year. Around 30,000 brain aneurysms rupture in the US each year. An estimated 40% of their cases cause death within 24 hours. Fast facts on aneurysms. First, aneurysms affect a variety of arteries. The most significant aneurysms affect the arteries supplying the brain and the heart. An aortic aneurysm affects the body's main artery. The rupture of an aneurysm causes internal bleeding. The risk of aneurysm developing and rupturing varies between individuals. Smoking and high blood pressures are major risk factors for the development of an aneurysms. Some types of aneurysms may need surgical treatment to prevent rupture. Doctors will only operate on others if they are life-threatening.
And for the entertainment news, Diego Loizaga gives girlfriend Barbie Imperial romantic surprise. Now that he had Barbie Imperial are officially a couple, Diego Loizaga is not holding back on expressing his loves for her. The Imperial shared how stunned she was when Loizaga arranged a surprise for her. Polaroid shots of them stuck into balloons in her room, which was filled with white petals, flowers, and fairy lights, as seen in her Instagram post yesterday, January 13th. The individual Polaroids had messages from Loizaga, such as "My princess," "My sisters like you," and "My best friend." On the red was the envelope where he had written "My baby." Loizaga's grand gestures comes from confirmed his relationship with Imperial on New Year's Day. Days later, Imperial described the relationship as totally unexpected. The two has been longtime friends before becoming a couple.
And for the entertainment news, Vicky Bello, Scarlett Snow dined with giraffes in Africa. Vicky Bello and her daughter Scarlett Snow enjoyed meals in the company of giraffes during their recent trip to Kenya, Africa. The two stayed in giraffe manor with Bello's husband and Scarlett Snow's father, Hayden Koo. Bello later recounted their time with the tall animals on the Instagram page on January 12, alongside some photos with the giraffes. Among them was a quiet morning where a giraffe drank Bello's cup of coffee while she read a book outside. In another picture, Scarlett Snow appeared to be feeding a giraffe that's not its head through a window to eat from a plate inside the room. After their stay at the unique hotel, Bello equipped with a plan on opening her own giraffe cafe, quote unquote. Grateful for this one-of-a-kind experience, she later expressed. Along with her time with the giraffe, Scarlett Snow also gained a younger brother in the form of a baby rhinoceros. Her parents adopted a young animal through the Liwa Wildlife Conservancy.
And for the trivia, the Filipino national dish may very well the adobo, which is a dark stewed chicken and or pork in a soy sauce, vinegar, crushed garlic, bay leaf, and black peppercorns. In Spanish, adobo originally meant sauce or seasoning. The Filipino version is actually indigenous to the islands, dating back to the dish cooked up before Magellan's arrival.
And for our weather news, today, Thursday, January 14, 2021, Philippines experienced 29 degrees Celsius. The sun rises at 6:25 this morning and sets at 5:46 p.m. Tail end of frontal system with a shear line affecting the eastern sections of southern Luzon and Visayas. Northeast monsoon affecting the rest of Luzon. And that's the latest and the hottest news for this hour. I am Lloyd Pilata.
And I am Irene Escobar reporting for MK Education Live.
Thank you and good evening.